Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about today, as we know that Sam Pittman is going to be meeting with the media later this afternoon to preview fall camp, as well as Ben Souders. So we'll talk about a little bit of what we think is going to be said there, as well as get into some fall camp talk and, of course, get into your chats presented by our friends at Basis Health. We'll have who our heavy hitters are presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Some summer topics of conversation presented by our friends at Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas, and getting into all the things going on in the sports world. But fellas, happy Thursday. It was great to see you guys in person last night. How are the vibes today?
Vibes are good. Happy that we got to hang out last night. I got some sleep last night, which is a good thing because I'm not sleeping tonight. I'm just too excited for the start of fall camp. I'm going to be up and giddy waiting on those sunrise reports to start coming out to see how our beloved Hogs are doing out there on the practice fields. I just can't wait.
Yeah, once I get in my jammies tonight, I'm laying out my outfit on the bed. I'm going to have it ready to roll. It's like I'm going on a field trip tomorrow. I'm dialed in. I will say I texted my dad, who's my best friend, my hero, right before the show about an hour ago, because I like to check in. I was just like, what's your expectations for Arkansas football? And he told me 4-8. And so I'm having to withstand that blow, because usually I can count on my dad to hype me up a little bit. He's not feeling it, but I'll see if I can get Tony to come around by the time the season opens.
Well, you got about 30 days to do it, because that's about how long it is until Razorback football season officially starts up. But yeah, fall camp with it getting going early in the morning, around 6:20. But again, we'll have some facts from Pittman and what he's going to be dropping today and everything. And I'm just kind of curious, SEC Football Media Days was just a couple weeks ago. And I know that wasn't necessarily in front of the local media, and it wasn't a specific way of previewing fall camp. But do you guys think that there's going to be any sort of changes, vibes, feelings from Pittman from what we saw just a couple weeks ago to now? Like, I was just curious, what's he going to talk about today, as far as maybe just the approach that they're having in fall camp? If they're just going to be getting excited about a particular player, maybe if there's an update on an injured player, which hopefully, there's no injuries to be spoke of. Just, I don't know, like, what do you think is going to be said today that might be different from what we've already known, or at least what we heard at Media Days a couple weeks ago?
I'm definitely more excited to hear from Ben Souders than I am Sam Pittman. No disrespect to Pittman, but for the reasons you kind of outlined there, we'll hear some different stuff. We'll get some insight on the summer strength and conditioning and all that from Souders. I always look forward to that. Now with Pittman, usually in these, it's going to be all about the line of questioning, but he'll probably be asked about position battle type things, as you're going into camp, like where are some things where you really, really have your eye on with some competition. He'll probably be asked about, freshmen, like young guys who have impressed in the summer that you're going to be watching closely. Maybe the guys who were not early enrollees, who weren't there in the spring, but have been around for summer workouts, like the late portal guys or a few of the freshmen who might pop. So we'll get a little bit of information there from him, but I'm sure he'll get the stock. Where have you seen the most growth from Taylon Green, in the off season, and how is he taking a step as a leader and that kind of things. But, and then he'll just get asked about the structure of camp, and he'll give his classic, answers about Friday's practice being a Tuesday practice and so on and so forth. But we'll probably outline just what they're looking at in terms of having to go through the acclimatization stuff of things like 5 or 6 days of practice before you can go full pads, which means they'll probably go up into that first off day next Wednesday, and then Thursday, I would imagine, would be their first full padded practice. But very informational. Hopefully we get some cool stuff. I don't think it'll be anything too groundbreaking. I'm more excited to hear from Sam Pittman tomorrow morning than I am this afternoon.
I'm with you in that I'm more interested to hear from Souders specifically today. Now, tomorrow after that first practice, maybe we'll have more there. In terms of what we'd like to hear from Pittman, I would like to hear some goals of, like, obviously you want to get better. You want to upgrade everywhere. You want everyone to be ready for the season. But like, after practice, it's easy to say, hey, who stood out, who was cool, who did bad, who did whatever. But I would like to hear from Sam Pittman in terms of, like, what is their point of emphasis? What are the specific things they're worried about? Obviously don't have a quarterback battle. We know most of the starters at a lot of the key positions, but like, what are areas he's kind of concerned about? And I think in the spring, that was the most useful stuff we got, was you got to hear him kind of talk about some position groups that he was impressed by, some that he wasn't. And, like last year, it was the linebackers that around fall camp, we started hearing, oh, yeah, we got the best linebackers ever. Who's going to be that version this year? And so that's all going to be interesting. And there's plenty of time for us to get some of those answers from Sam Pittman. But with Souders, I think it's fascinating because over the course of the summer, the coaches like Sam Pittman really can't tell you much about these guys because he hasn't been around them that much. Souders has spent an increasingly way more time with these players. And of course, they're working out in a workout setting. Workouts don't always translate to the field. But I think from a mindset, leadership standpoint, and of course, just some of the goals that these individual players have, I think Souders might be more qualified to speak on that than really any coach on the roster right now. And so I think that's going to be interesting to hear some of those tidbits of, oh yeah, I've been around so-and-so and he's super motivated, or, hey, we had these group breakout sessions and these specific guys were the leaders that rose to the top. I'm looking forward to hearing from some of that. And Ben Souders is a guy that has a lot of energy. So I have no doubt that we're going to be kind of fired up after hearing from him at some point.
Well, and that's I'm not ever going to complain or have any issue with us hearing from a head coach more often than not hearing from him. But it is kind of weird that, you get to hear from him today and then less than 24 hours later, you hear from him again. I get it, something developed and the practice happened, but it's kind of just today. I mean, I know there's going to be some questions asked and some previews made and everything, but I'm just going to be curious what that sounds like and what that looks like. And with the Ben Souders deal, that to me it may not be the sexy thing that people want to hear about. It may not be something that's moving the needle. Be like, oh man, guys, I forget Pittman, forget Petrino and all that. I got to hear from the strength and conditioning coach. But I do think that there is a lot of interesting things that can be done from that, because we've seen what has happened when you've had a good strength and conditioning coach and one that's not so good. We've seen that, how it handles with health and being out there. Are they getting bigger with muscle, or are they trying to slim them down a little bit? There's just so many elements to the ever-changing thing. And sometimes I feel like it's almost not viewed as important as it actually is. But, Souders, with the intensity that he has, and seems like he's been a pretty good strength and conditioning coach for the most part. I'm going to be curious if there's any changes to that. Did he change his approach? Did he change his the way that they're dealing with the offensive line? Did they feel like they were too slow last year, so they're going to develop that? That's going to be the thing of, is there anything changing, or is it staying status quo? Did you approach something different, or are you trying to just build upon what you had last year? To me, from the strength and conditioning side, that's going to be the most fascinating part of this. I know we'll talk about top end speed and all these different drills and stuff that they run, but the difference or similarities that they did from a year ago is what I'm going to be fascinated by.
Is it Sam and then Souders, or Souders and then Sam?
I was wondering, are they doing it together?
Nah, because I think the email, I guess I could have looked it up myself from the SID, said one of them was at 2 and one of them's at 2:30 ish. I can pull it up real quick here.
Yeah, okay, so you got because I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, 2 p.m. Pittman and then 2:30 Souders. Dang it. I got to leave a little before 2:30 for a baby appointment. So I'll have to listen to Souders after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was hoping to be the other way around so I could hear him and I would just skip the Sam Pittman stuff. But no, that's it's going to be really interesting. I am looking forward to hearing exactly if they change their approach in certain ways, after their evaluations from last season and what they needed to work on. I will also be pretty interested to hear Ben Souders' assessment of where he feels like Cam Ball and Kobe Branham are. 2 guys who were dealing with injuries. Cam Ball had the elbow, mm-hmm. and Branham had, I think, a pec or something that he was dealing with throughout the course of the spring. And, those are 2 guys at premium positions in the trenches where they need that upper body strength to be as good as possible. So how have they been able to maneuver and work around that, and where he feels like they're at, what they've been able to do? I think is going to be important, because Cam Ball is he's going to be the guy in there in the middle anyway on the defensive line. But, Kobe, he's in the mix for, maybe that starting right guard position. He's right there in the thick of it. I know they really like him. So I'll kind of be interested to hear where he's at and what all he's been able to do as well. That's I'm probably as interested in that as I am who ran 22 miles per hour top end speed or whatever.
Yeah, I think another one that I'm kind of on the one thing that I would like to hear, freshmen. And the freshmen, this summer is big for the freshmen, whether you enrolled in the spring or not, and most of them, of course, did. Because if you enroll in the spring, then now this is your first time really getting to go through the strength and conditioning, really bulk up, do all those things. And so that's always a big transition. But a lot of these guys, Antonio Jordan, the receiver that everybody's been kind of waiting to hear about, we didn't get to see him in the spring. The coaching staff has now spent a little bit of time with him. Pittman will probably be able to speak on some of these freshmen as well. But I think that's another thing is like going into fall camp. Of course, with freshmen, it's always a tough time of year. You don't want to go into fall camp expecting or needing all your freshmen to step up. But I'd like to hear some of that of like, hey, we think this guy is maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, or hey, this guy really has the physical, because especially from the biggest thing for freshmen, if you're going to compete right away, is that physicality difference. And so Souders might have some insight there. But I'm fully willing to be baited into any of the like veteran player who's had a complete body reformation process. Like I can't wait to hear some of those stories from Ben Souders about, oh, this guy, he added 20 pounds. He's a monster now. He's our Desmond James.
Yeah. Well, also too, I know this is a weird question maybe to ask because I feel like it might be the obvious answer, but maybe not. Is there a particular player that their health is the number one priority of any player on the roster? Like you don't want anyone to get hurt, but is it as simple as saying Taylon Green is the one that has to be the one? Like,
yes,
I mean,
it is.
Okay.
You should almost separate him from the conversation. Of like now we can have the conversation if we're talking about everyone else.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm setting it up for saying that, and then people are going to be like, oh no, because KJ Jackson's going to be better anyways, and people are going to be clamoring for him anyway. So setting it up. Okay, so then besides Taylon Green, like which player is it? Like which player's health is the most crucial for this team to make sure that through fall camp they're ready to go and fully conditioned and fully healthy once the season starts up?
It's hard to say.
Fernando Carmona,
I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
hey,
I would
he's the only stability you got on the offensive line. It is kind of a weird spot to say your guard is the most vital piece, but I'm just trying to think of like guys that really they couldn't afford to not have. If you didn't have Fernando Carmona, it'd be really hard for me to buy into the idea that this offensive line is going to be better.
Yeah, it's not a skill position player because they're all unproven. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody who stands out from the pack enough to where you're like, oh man, you can't lose that guy. So,
well, can I get stupid with it?
Of course.
Devin Bale.
You got to keep him
another
healthy,
punter.
for sure.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like punters are important. It's the difference in what was it? The John L. Smith called it. It's battle. Special teams are battles for large chunks of yards, and so you got to make sure your punter's good to go. Not that he'd ever hopefully be in a position where he hurts himself, but then again, you had a kicker get hurt last year, so can't ever put anything on it. But no, the point is like I'm agreeing with you guys. There's just besides QB1 and Taylon Green. Again, you want everyone healthy, but there's not like, oh, if this guy isn't 100% or this guy goes down or something, then nope, season's over, screwed type of deal. So, you want to keep everybody healthy, but that's also something that I'm really hoping this fall camp goes through because I guess they've lost Ismail Cece for an extended period of time. And as of right now, that's the only one we know about. And that's honestly what I'm really hoping today. I think maybe we discussed this yesterday, but to reiterate, I really hope Sam Pittman does not give us an updated for an injured player that something else happened, like in the weight room or, going out golfing or something like that, that some player of significance got hurt before fall camp even starts. I really hope that's not the case.
That would stink. Yeah, because 2 weeks ago, that's what he said. Outside of CC, they were healthy going into camp. So, and I think they've pretty much been done. I mean, they were doing some conditioning there at the very end, but he got hurt in the weight room. So I guess you never know. But yeah, the healthier, the better going into camp for sure.
By the way, I was just thinking about I kept thinking about the question of who would be the guy you couldn't afford to not have. It's definitely not a linebacker because there's like 9 of those that are pretty good. I really don't think there's a guy outside of Taylon Green. I've been sitting here for 5 minutes. I was trying to come up with a good answer.
Yeah. I mean, again, for depth purposes, there's some, but if you lost one of the running backs, does that mean, well, their season's over? No. I mean, they got other guys that can step up. I'll tell you what, I'll go another. If they lose Maddox Lassiter, it might be over, guys.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's a different one.
I mean, when you have a guy who, exactly, he plays every position, every formation, he does everything. You just can't do without him. So, yeah.
Yep. I'm just telling you right now, I'll hope he's the holder. I hope he's the holder for kicking. Because you're going to see some banger of fakes that are going to get happening for fake field goals if that happens. So either way, yeah, there's a lot of things going on again with fall camp, and we'll get a chance to hear from Ben Souders and Sam Pittman later today, and we'll get to other topics. But I want to remind everybody that we're brought to you by our friends over at BetSaracen. It's the number one sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. Not even close. If you want to get in on some of the future bets for college football, as well as some Major League Baseball going on, you got NFL preseason going on too. Well, get after it and start winning big with BetSaracen. Download the app on your iPhone or on your Android. You can also check them out online at BetSaracen.com. It's as simple as that. So check it out today. It's the #1 sports betting app in the state. It is BetSaracen. Guys, I want to play this video for you, something we were discussing. How about this? The Any Given Saturday on Netflix has to do with all the SEC teams and everything. Got a little teaser trailer of Arkansas's version of it. And here's what's something to look forward to on this special for Netflix.
To be a head coach at the University of Arkansas. It's personal.
I want to win. My coach deserves this.
We're going to win tonight. All we need is the best team.
All right. How pumped up are you now? Like, what is this? I'm sure that I know we'll all watch it and everything like that, but the interest that you have in checking this out, especially from that, I guess, the Tennessee game from last season.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to watch it for sure. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to tune in and absorb every second of that. That didn't necessarily get me ready to run through a brick wall or anything, but no, I'm definitely looking forward to tuning into that. I do agree with what Sam said. All we need is the best team. I agree wholeheartedly.
For 3 hours or however, maybe 4 hours. We just have to be the best team on that field. No, yeah, listen, I told you guys, I was a little bit worried because I'm excited about this show. It's, SEC football, any given Saturday. They're going to go around the league. There's going to be all kinds of behind the scenes stuff. I saw like clips of, they go fishing with some guys. They do a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. Diego Pavia seems to be heavily featured in it. Like, it'll be cool. I was worried that Arkansas would get like no love or representation on the show. When I heard they were doing this, I was like, damn. This seems like something that Arkansas won't be super involved with. So I'm glad that there's at least something on the Tennessee game. Of course, that was by far the coolest moment of the Razorback season last year. So if you're going to highlight one game, that might as well be it. So maybe that'll be cool. I'm a sucker for most of this stuff, behind the scenes. I mean, when Last Chance U became a prominent thing on Netflix, I remember thinking, I was like, dude, I wish they would just do this for any SEC school. I would watch that all the time. And it's definitely not going to be as in the weeds as Last Chance U. They're not going to be that behind the scenes. It's not going to be that authentic. But I do think it is going to be cool. I mean, SEC football is a different monster, and I think it's going to get us very excited. Like, they're dropping this at such a perfect time to where right as we're launching up, as our excitement's building, by the time we watch this, we're going to be chomping at the bit for some week 0 action.
Yeah, and I'm going to watch it, and I always like behind the scenes things, no matter what it is, even if it was from a year ago. It'd still be kind of cool to see some of the inside stuff to that. But it is it just was a reminder, guys. I think to like the Vice documentary that they did with Cal and the Razor's Edge, and thinking about something like this, and obviously things that like Hogs Plus does and everything. It's kind of amazing how much you feel like there's so much content out there to give you behind the scenes, yet generally speaking, it's never been more like hidden and secretive in every way. Now, I'm not just saying this is just Arkansas. I'm just talking about in general of sports. You see so much of this stuff where it's like, okay, yeah, you get to see things, hear things that's never been really done before, and really never to this magnitude of it. And being on Netflix and being on, Vice or whatever it is, no matter the sport, yet there's still just an element of like, you still don't know much. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but that's how it feels, where it feels like there's a time where you should know the most, and fans particularly should know the most and feel the most connected because they see inside stuff like this. But on the other side of it, it really doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes sense for sure. I guess it wasn't, what was it, like pre-Petrino maybe, when it was just pretty much open. Yeah. Like, you just go out there and hang out at practice the entire time or whatever. Or you could go into the coach's offices and like just randomly walk in on an assistant and interview them. And the access was a little bit different. So it is kind of fascinating. And you're right. It's not just an Arkansas deal. I mean, this is honestly up until this past year where they started locking it down, once they got into the season, Arkansas kind of gave more access than most schools in the SEC when it came to practice and everything. But at any rate, it is kind of weird to me when you think about where things are headed, like the landscape of college athletics, of like, okay, especially after today's ruling, which again, it's just saying the same thing that we've already known, which is, yes, they're going to approve deals from collectives for these athletes, but with NIL being a thing, and then you're kind of relying on the fan base to donate to collectives or raffles, like whatever, to generate a lot of those funds, but then you're not giving them the level of access that you had in the past before this was a thing. Kind of seems weird to me. Like, the more accessible you are, and the more people feel like they're connected with the teams and the players and everything like that, at least for me, the more I'd be willing to fork over some change to to donate to the cause. So that's kind of been a little bit fascinating to me. I like the things that Hogs Plus does. I like that they're doing this. I like the Vice documentary. But I feel you, John. I definitely share in the sentiment there.
I think we're at a weird spot in the world where I think that we've clearly figured out as a society, whether it's sports, music, entertainment, whatever, we love the behind the scenes stuff. We love the peek behind the curtain, and we love kind of the breaking the fourth wall. But everyone who's going to offer you that peek behind the curtain, that behind the scenes thing, they are clearly going to do it in a way that makes them look cool. And so you're not getting like a, because I'm with you guys. Like, I love seeing anything like that. It makes me feel more connected. Like, the more information you can give me, the more I'll fall in love with you, the more I'll be willing to buy into your story. But these programs and these teams that sign up to do stuff like this, whether it's a Netflix doc, whether it's your own camera crew or whatever, you're always going to show as much as you can in a way that makes you look cool. And so it's like, cool, and I think that fans enjoy it for the most part, but there is that little extra level. And to bring it back to Last Chance U, which I know I keep referencing, but it's a fascinating piece of cinema here. That was like a school that just made a full commitment. They were like, we're not going to hide anything. Just be here, follow me to work, get in my car, go to my house, go like do whatever you want, and just film whatever you want, and we're just going to do our thing. I don't think we're ever going to get something like that at this level, and probably shouldn't. But I do think that it is fascinating how much, like, us as fans and just observers, we search for this stuff and we love it, and we know that when we're very happy for anything we can get, but we also kind of know we're not going to really get the deep down story of what's really going on. We don't get to see those truly human moments. It's kind of like on the university and on the team's terms, which is just kind of how it has to be.
Well, and a quick story for you, when I know you brought up the Petrino thing, Curtis, I'll never forget one of the, because back then, it's going to show at my age, but like back then, social media was there, but it wasn't what it is now. It was, I guess, in 2008 when his first season was going on. And I remember the fascination of Petrino, because he definitely was not somebody that was out there active, being, going around shaking hands, kissing babies. He was not the John Calipari guy who's just wanting to be seen. In fact, he was quite the opposite. He did not want to be seen. And so getting a chance to go out there for like fall camps and practices when they were at the very beginning open to fans, I knew it was a little bit different, where there was a kid, never forget, he was a college kid, and went out there and he had one of them old school iPhones. I don't even know if you could do video on it yet, but he took a picture. And somebody saw it. Somebody alerted Petrino. And this is the middle of the practice. He stops practice, Petrino. He goes over to this college kid that's like 20 years old and rips him a new a-hole, like just completely destroys this college kid. And then after that, Petrino's like, practice closed. Boom. It was over with. And it was like, I look back on that. I was like, man, that was such a crazy reaction to it all. But it's changed ever since then. And I remember talking to people like Jason Kersey, who used to cover Oklahoma with Bob Stoops there. He said Bob Stoops, he's the only person you'd ever get to talk to during the season. No players, no coordinators, nothing. It was Bob Stoops, and that's it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it could be a lot worse. And then Bielema was here, and he's like players, coaches, everybody. So it's just amazing how different coaches, different programs approach it. And I'm not going to be one of these people that are like, well, us in the media, we deserve full access to everything. And it's like, I'm not going to do that. But to your point too, Curtis, there's a relatability that makes it so much better for fans when they feel a part of it. Because that's something that like I strive to be, and I know we strive to be too, is with our audience. We try to be relatable in a way where we don't sugarcoat things, but we try to be like, hey, we're normal people. We talk about our own lives. We talk about, personal things and everything, which, some people don't want to do, and that's fine. But I just think when people can relate to you and connect with you on a human level, people are going to be more supportive of you. People are going to be more willing to trust you. People are going to be more willing to trust you with, their money, for instance, and donating and all of that. But if you kind of feel like you're shutting them out on purpose, I think you just miss out on opportunities to really help yourself out, your program out, and everything. So it's about the balance. It's about having a good enough balance where you don't give the farm and let everybody, Homer and Jethro come in from Ryzen and just sit back on practices and live tweet it. But you also want to make sure that people are, hey, we welcome you. We love you. We want you to be a part of this. And what better way than to get you to be a part of it and get you to see some of the stuff behind the scenes.
I'm going to be pretty interested to see how the social media arm of Razorback football handles camp and everything, because we talked going back to the summer about, hey, you got to kind of start changing the narrative, and even if you got to lie to us a little bit about certain things, but just getting people excited, getting them fired up, getting them engaged. So I wonder if they work overtime, here in the next few weeks to get people amped up, just putting out highlight clips or motivational little excerpts from certain coaches getting on guys, the kind of stuff that gets people going a little bit. I wonder what that's going to look like. Maybe they need to rent out the baseball social media team for a few weeks to see if they can get that going. I don't know, but I am going to be interested to see that. I wanted to ask you this, John. I saw this in the chat earlier and I started, but I'll bring it up now based on what you were talking about. But Rob D says Bobby used to put guys in the windows at the hyper to keep people from spying on the outdoor field. A fun fact from the old days. Can you confirm or deny these allegations?
Confirm, dude. That dude, okay, so the practice facility in the coach's office, what it is, that was built for Bobby. Bobby and them never got to use it because he got fired before it. And if you look at it, if you looked at the work on it, the coach's offices were in the basement of it because he wanted to be so far away from anyone coming to bother him. And so, yes, that dude went above and beyond to make sure no one saw anything, knew anything, did not bother him. I could tell stories for days of stuff I heard from Bobby, some people coming in, hey, coach, we got 100 of these footballs to sign for charity and something like that. And if you caught him at the wrong moment, which I'm not saying he was a complete jerk, but you caught him at the wrong moment. He's like, I'm not signing any of these effing things, and you get the F out of my office. And if I ever see you again, I'm going to murder your family. It's like, okay, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm the biggest Petrino fan at all time, but he wasn't exactly the friendliest, nicest, hey, come by and give me a hug type of guy. That just wasn't his thing. It wasn't his thing.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, Curtis, to your point, I was kind of wondering about, how, because again, they're aware of the narrative with the fan base. They understand that there's a lot of discontent. There's a lot of angry people that are just not thrilled about football, but also just not happy with the state of things. I wonder if it almost goes the other way where they're like, you know what, let's just, be in our little world over here. We don't have to do all because of how annoyed people are. I think that's very possible as well. But I do think that how they handle that balance is going to be interesting here.
It'll probably tell us a lot about how they actually feel about what they have too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, then again, that's part of what today and tomorrow are kind of about. Of course, fall camp's cool, but we're going to hear from Pittman for about 45 minutes combined. He's going to say a lot of things what is his tone? What does he have to what is his message to the fans as fall camp gets underway? And is it as simple as, listen, I'm not here to talk. We're going to go lock in and do what we got to do. I don't have anything to say to you. I know you're mad. We're not happy. Let's just go figure this out. They might take that approach, but it is the next 4 weeks are going to be interesting from a fan base relationship standpoint for sure.
Oh yeah, man. I hope at 6:30 in the morning that Razorback football puts out a tweet of Juice Box just out there on the field, already drenched in sweat. Prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Show the haters what's up. Just going crazy with his mustache curled. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. That's what I need to get myself going here a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to get me hyped for the season, just have that guy mic'd up and a camera on him at all times during the whole electric. Yeah. That dude could get you to run through a wall and you don't even know why. He's just got that energy to him. So
somebody needs to ask Ben Souders about him.
I would love to know, is he you guys hang out? Is he outside of work? Is he one of those guys? Is he one of those guys that you're just yeah, man, I got to keep him in check a little bit. Sometimes gets a little over the top. I don't know, but if nobody knows who we're talking about, you'll just look for the man with the mustache on the sidelines.
He's and 5'2", just getting after it. I remember he was walking around the O-line last year and he was screaming, "Bully ball, bully ball!" He just yelling phrases at him.
Yes.
Hilarious. What's his actual name though? We found it the other day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on, that picture that he had was great. His name is Tommy McChesney.
Yeah. I mean, fitting, very fitting. That dude is electric, and it's been multiple years now. And I know I was talking about the other day, but we would go out there for these practices. And that one year we were out there at like, I don't know, like around 7:30 every morning for the first couple of weeks of camp. And it wasn't that hot of a summer. Like, it was really nice. We'd be out there and it's like 73 degrees, a little overcast out, nice breeze. And it's that early. The team is just getting out there stretching, and the dude is just drenched, absolutely soaked to where his shirt's just sticking to his skin. And he's just screaming at the top of his lungs, going from position group to position group, just screaming. It wasn't anything demonstrative. It was just all motivational yelling. I love that guy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's as electric as they come. And sometimes you need somebody like that, to really get the people going. In everything too. So I was going to try to see if I could figure out, because that way people know who we're talking about. I think I got the picture here for this guy, but yeah, here we go. So this is who we're talking about. His name's Tommy McChesney. He's the assistant strength and conditioning coach. Man, dude's a monster, and in all the best of ways.
He's like a bowling ball. It's like he's jacked. I mean, obviously, because he's an assistant strength and conditioning coach in the SEC. Every program needs this guy.
Yep.
Like, you can't let him go. He's one of the most valuable people on the team. I'm not kidding. Like, I swear to God, very important to the process here. Brings the good energy. There were times too where, like, when Arkansas was going through it, even in that 4-8 season, he was doing everything he could down there to keep the sidelines engaged. Keep the guys in the, involved and everything. Just bring a little bit of positive energy in there, and it never slips. Like, I've never just seen him not, on 10 or 11 or whatever his scale is. It's a little bit different than mine and everybody else's. Like, the dude gets after it.
I think he's valuable to Souders, because Souders, I see Souders at football practice, and, strength coaches, again, this is kind of part of what you have to do. You have to be that guy with energy. But I've seen Souders at practice, and he's a lot more calm and just kind of going around talking to guys, clapping, shaking hands where he can, slapping ass and doing what he's got to do. But, like, I think he relies on this guy to be that, because Souders is probably like, look, I'm an adult with a real job. Like, I can't walk around in sweats screaming all day. Like, I can't do that. I can't be the get back guy and the strength coach and do that. So I think that's why McChesney is a very big part of the staff.
Yep. And the fact that he's just Tommy McChesney. I mean, that's a great name. Just Juice Box, great nickname. Everything just great about this guy.
I might actually Venmo someone to ask about him.
Yeah. He's a stud.
Well, why don't you start with just asking them if they'll ask about him first, and then if they say no, then Venmo. Like, just don't be like, hey, dude, I'm going to give you $100.
Yeah, what's the industry up to today?
Yeah, but I could do it for free. Could have done it for free. We'll have get to your chats in a bit, folks. But I want to remind everybody here on Inside Arkansas Live, we're brought to you by our friends over at Hickey and Hull Law. We know that divorce and custody cases are really important to all of you, important to all of us. And anytime you're going through that, it's tough, but it's always a lot easier whenever you have help to try and face it, not only just by yourself, but also to make sure that you're having all the guidance that you possibly need. And that's what Hickey and Hull Law does for you. They pride themselves on building relationships with their clients by providing honest, principled advice and representation. And they have offices across the entire state of Arkansas, whether it's in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, or Mena. You can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can even check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. Scan that QR code right there, and you can get after it and start getting the help that you need and you deserve here in the state of Arkansas. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. All right, guys. Now, I know that this was another tweet that happened yesterday that I know we're going to dive into. We discussed it a little bit last night in our super secret creative meeting for Inside Arkansas Live, or Inside Arkansas in general yesterday. But Hunter Yurachek, anytime he tweets, there's always something to it. There's always some interest that comes from it. And yesterday, he tweeted out this simple thing, not that, this, about the year of success. Now, he listed out here in the graphics, and, some of it's kind of the fine print. It may have to, just tough to look at, but essentially it talks about there at the top, 11th in the Learfield Directors Cup, 3 SEC titles, National Players of the Year in baseball and softball, and all the championships, all the accolades for all of that. But then as it gets down there, it starts saying record year for revenue generation. That includes ticket sales revenue, fundraising revenue, licensing revenue, total attendance, total sponsorship, and sales revenue. They mentioned the attendance, which is the second most of all time in football at 73,392. They sold out every game for baseball and basketball. All-time record of season tickets sold for soccer, volleyball, as well as gymnastics, a 98% graduation rate, concessions rate. This just list goes on and on and on and everything. just kind of saying, hey, not only did we have success on the fields and on the courts, but when it comes to our revenue generation, we broke records like crazy. So my question is to you guys, and of course to the chat, because I know we'll talk about it. What's your reaction to this post by Hunter Yurachek and him talking about the success not only on the field, but in the finances, which we know is so important at this time of year?
I think to steal a line from Andrew Ellis, two things can be true. You know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of schools throughout the SEC put out similar graphics or press releases or whatever, just kind of touting the year that they've had from all these different standpoints. So I'm not offended by the U of A doing that here. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the things in here and some of them, like you can manipulate a statistic any way you want to, right? To make it say whatever you want to. And that's got to be factored in. But there are good things here, a lot of good things. And there are a lot of things that the U of A should be proud of. There are a lot of things that Hunter Yurachek has done as the athletic director at Arkansas that he should be proud of and that people should be appreciative of and supportive of. I don't think really, especially the top half of this, nothing on there qualifies as the things that piss people off when it comes to Hunter Yurachek and the job that he's doing at Arkansas. I think fans are obviously frustrated about the big dog football, the resistance to adapting to the landscape of college athletics with, as it pertains to NIL and everything else. And then obviously when you see these things, it's like, man, okay, they're making all this money. This is, record setting here, broke this record, broke that record, the most we've ever had here, the most we ever had there. And so you wonder, okay, well, where is all the money going? Right? Like what do those expenses look like? Because they did just have to make those big cuts in the athletic department and fire 18 people, right? To get down to the bottom line, to get what they need for revenue share and everything like that. So if we see all these things and this is so great, well, why is that the case? And so I'm not offended by the graphic, man. And I don't think anybody should look at this necessarily and be like, damn you, Hunter, you're a check. He hasn't done a horrible job all around in his job. There are just some very important factors that go into his job where people are very frustrated, and rightfully so. This ain't one of them. The year of success, people make fun of the Learfield Directors Cup and all that. But there are a lot of sports at the University of Arkansas that are doing incredibly well. And that's something we should all be proud of as Razorback fans. So that part of it doesn't irritate me.
100%. That I could not agree more. And I also could not agree more with the sentiment that what is Hunter Yurachek supposed to do other than, tell his story of the year they had in athletics and tell it in the best way possible. Again, everyone's goal on this planet, I'm not really, is to try and make yourself look good. And if as an athletic director, you're trying to sell your university, you're trying to tell the world we're this awesome athletic department, which again, that's his job. So of course, I think the graphic is cool to see. And there's a lot of things on there that absolutely should be celebrated. And Hunter Yurachek would be an idiot to not, bring that stuff to the table and talk about that. And so, yeah, kudos to that. And I'm a big proponent of kind of telling, because if you don't tell yourself and tell the world that you're great, how do you expect us to believe that? How do you expect your competitors and people you're trying to get to come to university to believe that? So again, I think the graphic is cool. Like I think they should do more stuff like this, kind of promoting themselves and saying, hey, we're on the arrows going up. The only tough part of it is like we kind of know deep down, one, a lot of fans look at this and say, I don't care about any of this. Give me a good football team. Fact. There's also a lot of us that know that the University of Arkansas is basically begging everyone for money and, struggling financially in some things and having to fire a bunch of people. A bunch of really good people lost their jobs. And so part of me kind of looks at that and says, okay, if we're setting records in revenue and it's the most support we've ever had from all these different areas and we're having record highs in attendance, we did the basketball reseeding, like this is supposed to be the peak possible revenue we could possibly bring in, then why are we still kind of struggling and making excuses in all these different departments? And so that's a conversation we can have. But in terms of Hunter Yurachek putting out this graphic, like I'm all for this because again, you have to believe that you're awesome and you have to tell people that you're awesome. And so I'm all for that. But it does just kind of raise other questions for me where I'm kind of like, okay, so if all this is so great and look, a lot of that stuff is valid, but then it's like, okay, now that's the expectation. You have to keep doing that and you have to find a way to really pass up some of your peers while also doing all this. And it's like, I don't know how you can market yourself all off season as like the program that needs money and the program that is going to have to figure out how to make ends meet and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, actually we're crushing it. It is a little bit tough, but I think again, what is Hunter Yurachek supposed to do in this situation?
Yeah, my thing is like, what we do, and I know I try to do, is call a spade a spade. If there's something good that somebody's done, regardless of my feelings on them, especially when it comes to athletics, it's like you got to give credit where credit is due. Same thing if they're doing something bad, but I'm the same way. I don't have a problem with this graphic. I don't have a problem with putting it out. I don't have a problem in doing all that because at least you're doing something to try to communicate with people, especially your fan base, of something of that's what's going on. Like, hey, this is our revenue. But yeah, it just, to me, it's the questions I still like follow up with and want to follow up with. You laid out a few of them, Andrew, but I know for a fact that in Arkansas, if you look at their financial report back in 23 and 24, they made a net revenue as an athletic department of $3.62 million. And that was before this $20.5 million is going to be just added. So doing the math there, you need about $17 million. You got to find it somewhere. So it does to all of that. But I think it's, again, not that Hunter Yurachek's done this awful job. It's just he's done a good job at what he's decided to do. There's just maybe some of the decisions that he's made that I have not agreed with. And so when you're trying to get this money and get to that deal and that threshold, 100% understand. But it just is a matter of, okay, you got all these records, you got the cuts that you made, and yet I still can't help but feel like you may not even be there just yet. Just by the way it sounded from Pittman and Yurachek and all that, it sounds like you're still a little bit of ways away. And so I don't know. I just feel like if you could have done something, whether it's a collective, I'm not saying it has to be this, but some sort of deal where it's like, hey, fans, if you want to help out with our deal here specifically for revenue share that's going to go towards players that we can get to make us great, like all of that, and here's how you can do it in this avenue, I think people would have been a little bit more willing to help out in that way instead of just kind of fighting it to make it to where it's like, well, all this money and stuff that we're going to do, it's going to come to us, but we get to decide where it goes. And then the revenue share just always felt like it was the last thing on your mind. That's how I took it. So again, I think it's good that they've made all this revenue. I think it's good that they've approached it this way. But it's kind of like, okay, so if this is the case and this is all right, good, grand, and wonderful, you shouldn't have any problems being financially in a bad spot. Not saying that there won't be things that rise up, but it seems like if you've done all these things and you've had all this revenue, you should be good to go, right? You should be good with this $20.5 million, right? You shouldn't have these major issues popping up, right? I mean, that's the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, and time will tell, exactly what that looks like, and we won't really know until this next recruiting cycle for football. And I'm not talking about the 33-star freshmen or whatever they have coming in this class, but when we get to portal season, right? Because that's when they're really going to be able to flex whatever money they have, or we'll just have a better idea of, okay, are they really on that even playing field or not? I would be, we talk about Sam Pittman and the things he might talk about today. I would hope that with the changes that have occurred over the last couple of weeks since he spoke at SEC Media Day, that he'll get asked about, hey, yeah, you get this revenue share and everything, but yeah, did you see all the stuff out there about collectives and you thought that they were going away, but they're not? How are you guys positioned? What's going on to make sure that you don't find yourself in the same exact spot that you've been pissing and moaning about for the last couple of years? Because that's going to be very, very important there. And maybe that'll be his opportunity to drop a bomb. And he's like, let me tell you guys about that Arkansas edge, man. I don't know what that's going to look like, but that could be something else. That could be a question posed to him that would probably be better served to do today as opposed to once we get into camp and they're actually playing football.
Yeah, okay. You guys remember about 9 or 10 months ago when I believe Hunter Yurachek was speaking at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and he went on this whole thing about how he's like, look, we got to get this Arkansas edge thing off the ground. We've got to get this collective working, and it's going to be the fans. You guys have to just keep donating as much money as you can. Like we needing all you guys here, which again, that's part of his job is to fundraise, to get fans to want to donate to stuff like that. And then clearly it didn't necessarily, like the Arkansas edge never really took off in the way that they had hoped. But it was kind of this narrative of like, hey, we need the fans and we need as much as we can from the fans. And to tie it back to the graphic, when I look at that graphic and I read some of those numbers, you know what it tells me is that Arkansas fans are doing not only enough to support the programs, above and beyond, record attendance in all three major sports, like all these, soccer, most they've ever had, gymnastics, most they've ever had. Razorback fans, their support and their commitment to the University of Arkansas and like the athletic programs is at an all-time high. And so it's like, again, I go back, and I'm not saying that Hunter is wrong for asking fans to donate to a collective, but it's like the framing of this of like, oh, we need the fans and y'all have to step up. They cannot possibly step up more than they have done already. And that's what this graphic shows. That's what, whenever you baited them into, raising $1 million for the slobber hog that was already painted, that was them stepping up again. Like, the fans have kind of done their part at every step of the way. And again, we've always felt collectives are never going to not go away, and Arkansas is going to have a collective of some sort. But we also knew that wasn't going to be funded 100% by fans that were going to make the difference in the athletic department. You need a lot more money from a lot bigger suitors there. And so it's like, again, I think this graphic is awesome as it is. And I don't have a problem with Hunter Yurachek putting it out, but it's like, now that I'm really looking at it and thinking about it, it's like, now I have all these questions. I'm like, so what can the fans do differently? Because when I look at that graphic and read some of those specific figures, I'm like, that should be 100% attributed to how the fans have been as loyal as possible during times that have not been great for some sports.
Yeah. And especially the things like, licensing and merchandising revenue. Like, what's the revenue from that? Well, that's the fans buying it. It's not like you're someone's donating it. It's like the fans are buying it. Same thing with the full service tailgating revenue, which has been a topic of conversation and controversy dealing with that. The concessions revenue. But you're right, Andrew. It's like, these are the things that fans are doing. And it not that it matters, because it is there. It did make revenue, and that's what you want. But it also makes me wonder, is like, some of this stuff, is it because the prices were raised and it forced that? Or was it more of just more people did it? I think it's more that the prices were raised and that's what's helped and that's what's gotten it. But is it going to be the whole thing, like you bring up, Curtis, is it going to be consistent enough where we're like next year, at this time next year, are you going to be in the same position again where you're like having to scrounge every single piece, every single dime to be able to effectively do this again next year? Because it's not a one-time thing. Because you can't cut many more people. You can't cut salaries. You can't raise the prices so much on concessions and all of this, especially when it's like the full service tailgating revenue. Dude, if you don't have a great team, or at least a team, people are not going to continue to just buy these things unless you just have a bunch of corporations that are willing to do it. But they're just not going to make it happen. So, it just makes me wonder how this is going to work. It's working now, and obviously they did something, but is it going to be the same thing next year where you build on it? Or are you going to be, hey, need to make some cuts and we're going to have to do some other things too? And because I just don't think it's a sustainable thing if you're consistently each and every year trying to figure out ways to get to that point, to that threshold, instead of having something more sufficient to keep you there and keep it moving and build on it.
It gives me a headache to think about all of it. And yeah, now it's not only the revenue share number, it's, you also have to be able to continue to compete, or compete actually better in the NIL space on top of it with collectives and all that. And the revenue share number goes up by multiple millions of dollars every year. So like, it's going to be, like a higher number that you have to get to. And I think about all of these things that they did, not to just continue rehashing everything we've already been talking about here, but you're not going to reseat Bud Walton Arena next year and get the record whatever from that. You're not going to be able to do the, hey, if we get, what was it, 750,000 donated to the Edge, we'll put the slobber hog. It's already there. So what are you going to do that for Nolan's statue or something? You know what I mean? Like, so some of those little things where it's like a quick fix. Hey, let's get some cash in here. We're fine. They did all that and still had to make all these cuts. And that's what kind of concerns me a little bit. It's great to see all the record-breaking stuff here, but it's like, damn, you had all that. You still had to do these things. What does this mean moving forward? I have no idea. I don't know what their plan is. We'll see what they wind up doing.
And real quick for Andrew, because I know you probably have a response, but I'm also curious about that Razorback raffle. And is it going to be able to be as consistent as, because I think what they did it twice and they had pretty good numbers, but is it going to be sustainable for every game of the football season at home and everything, to where you're bringing in, well, I mean, what would be because how much did they bring in? Was it on their end, not splitting it in half, but I think it was like 350, 400,000, something like that, maybe more.
The graphic said like 470.
Okay. So 470. Yeah, that's right. 470. So, are you going to be able to, and that was after two of them. Mm-hmm. So is that going to be the average? Like, are you going to be able to bring in roughly $250,000 per raffle you got to look at that too.
Yeah, Curtis, you touch on a great point in the idea that like there were a lot of things that led to the number one across the board and the most they've ever raised, because you got a lot of things to go your way. You did the basketball reseeding. Again, you had great football attendance, which, is again, another thing with the fans and all that, but it's like there were a lot of things that went well in this past academic year. You obviously had Coach Cal. There was a lot of excitement there. You had a baseball team that nearly won the national title. You had great success in a lot of these other sports. So it's like, again, that's what lies the problem with being a head coach or being an athletic director, is like you can do all this great work and you can have all this success, and then the next year rolls around, and so it's like, all right, now go do it again. Yeah. And so that's kind of the other shoe of this is like, we need you to now you've raised all this money. You're great, but now there's still money that's going to be spent. There's still money. There's expenses that are going to come up. So you have to go out there and keep doing it. And now we've already set the bar, what you have to go above now. And so it's kind of fascinating. And I feel like every time we hear from Yurachek or Pittman, it's like they kind of say the right thing in that moment, but then it's like, okay, so now go out there and make it happen. And there's always kind of that kicking the can down the road. And it's like always kind of, oh yeah, no, we're fine because of revenue sharing. All right, well now go out there and get a good portal class. Well, we couldn't do that. Well, the season's coming up. Well, we don't have good players yet. It's like, it's just a constant battle to satisfy this fan base and continue feeding this monster, which is admittedly a very hard thing to do. But it just, again, it's very fascinating, the mental gymnastics that we all kind of have to do. And we're all trying to support the best we can. But I think if you just read between the lines of everything, it doesn't make you feel as warm and fuzzy as maybe just seeing the graphic and being like, oh, hey, we're rich. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot easier to just stop right there and don't think about it any further.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get into the chat and check the vibes presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they are changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. Shout out to our guy Dre for his partnership here with Inside Arkansas. So a few of your chats, shout out to Fishman for the super chat. He says, is there any truth to Rhett Lashley being interested in becoming the next coach? I tell you what, Fishman, we had a whole thing about this, and it's posted separately on our YouTube page at Inside Arkansas, talking all about it from the other day. So just go and watch that, and you'll get all your answers there. You'll get all your answers.
You say fall camp, not a time to find out about that?
Yeah, that's true. All right, so let's see. Got Trey also said, he's like, did y'all see what Frank Fletcher said on the Buzz this morning? Yes, we did. Giving away, Arkansas gets 8 wins this year. He's going to give away, was it 12 cars, I believe, is what he was doing.
12 automobiles.
Yep. So listen, I love Frank. I worked around him at the Buzz. Dude is very charitable, but he's also a premier marketer, man. He knows. We got everybody talking about it. Oh my goodness, this guy's going to give 12 cars away if they win 8 games. Well, what are the chances that Arkansas wins 8 games this year? Not so great. So he does this stuff all the time, but I really miss his commercials of the River Front Steakhouse, Frank Fletcher. Like, dude's got money, dude. Dude is the reason why Bobby Petrino is your offensive coordinator right now. Plain and simple. He is the sole reason why. So, yeah, but we did hear it, and it is pretty funny. So, let's see. Also, David wants to know who's going to be the player that is going to get the fall camp looks like a beast player. I was going to save this for kind of similar to what we're maybe doing tomorrow on the show, but as far as who's going to be the guy that gets talked about the most, but beast looks like a beast, maybe from the strength and conditioning side. Don't really know.
Shaq McCroy.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe. Yeah. I think Mike Washington, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah, Mike Washington.
Well, I think about newness also, like of guys who we didn't see a bunch of during the spring and everything, like maybe the summer enrollees or whatever. So maybe an Antonio Jordan, he's 6'6", 235-pound freshman wide receiver. He's probably going to look imposing there. I don't know about the kid from Florida State, like the other receiver. I don't know how big he is.
I don't think he's that large.
Oh no, 6'1", 171. No, it won't be him. Maybe Antonio Jordan. That's going to be my sneaky pick.
Lord willing, man. If there's one thing I can place an order for, an a la carte order for fall camp, just give me 2 good days worth of Antonio Jordan hype. That's all I really want. I want him to be wide receiver 5.
Yeah, and I will even throw in, man, I'm this guy's going to get mentioned like an Ian Jaffard, like just like, oh man, this guy's a big man, and what's he going to look like? So it's like,
by the way, they did the updated roster which has you can kind of compare and contrast the weights. You want to know how much weight Ian Jaffard cut down from last year? 1 singular pound.
I was going to say, I see him at 387. It can't be much.
388 to 387.
That's a big boy, man.
That is a big boy. I'm sure he looks a lot different, but I don't think he could get lower than 350 realistically. I really don't.
I don't think so either. I don't think it's possible.
And by the way, he's not fat. Like he's really not. Like you look at his legs, like you can see, when his legs are working, you're like, you can see it. I'm like, it's not just some big fat, guy rolling around out there. He's stout.
You guys remember Mount Cody from Alabama? Like, I'm not saying he's like the exact same shape and everything, but I just remember it's like seeing him like next to Nick Saban, just how massive he was, where he wasn't necessarily just a fat guy, but he was just big, big. And that's kind of what you want from your defensive linemen, especially your interior ones. You just want them to be big and stuff in those lines. Let's see. Showtime Production says, will there be any live scrimmage sessions open to fans in the fall?
No, they don't normally do these. They do these like even before, like even back in the most open days possible, they really never. It's probably been about a decade since they've done anything like this, but they'll do that in the spring here and there, but not in the fall.
You know what's funny?
They won't even let they won't even open the scrimmages to media in fall camp.
Yeah,
like you'll get 15 minutes at the beginning of practice, but scrimmage days they don't even open it up for them.
I would just think it'd be so funny if just like randomly they opened up a Saturday scrimmage to the media and everybody, and I'd be like, why? Why did y'all do this? What's going on here? It'd be like, where's the angle here? Why are you guys wanting people to show up and watch your practices? This doesn't seem right.
Dude, I remember when we were back in the 247 days, we were on the board and someone was really mad because he was like, I was just on Texas's site and their media has a full scrimmage report. And we were like, well, yeah, Texas lets their media watch the full scrimmage. And he was like, so why don't y'all? We're like, well, they don't let us do it. And he's like, but Texas? I'm like, we don't cover Texas. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
We didn't all band together and decide this.
Yeah, like, this is not our job, I promise.
Yeah. Let's see. We already talked about that one. Let's say Finch was saying, I know we all love to hate Hunter Yurachek because he likes to act like a spaz. But overall, are you pleased with where he has our athletic program as a whole in his AD tenure or no?
I don't think we really have to get into this one after the segment we just had. I started before we talked about this because I was going to bring it up, but
okay. I mean,
success on the field for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. But success in the biggest sport, not so much. Let's see. Trey says, how did the meeting of the minds go last night? Any new swag coming soon? Man, it went great. We really hammered out the details. We feel refreshed. And I'm telling you, you guys aren't even going to be ready for what we're bringing this fall. And football season ain't going to be ready, but it went well, Trey, and we'll have a lot of details on what's going to be happening here soon. So, yeah,
it was a productive meeting. I was pleased with the beverages. Food left a little bit to be desired. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
it wasn't the best work at this establishment, but
yeah, it was fine. Although, I'm going to just out him who it was. The Boom Boom Shrimp was pretty good, though.
Boom Boom Shrimp was good.
Boom Shrimp always gets it. Dre just says, our guy Dre of Basis Health, he says, everything can be summed up in thanks, Cal, when he was talking about the program and the success of it all and everything, which, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a good, I will say this breaking news, but it is a pretty good thing for the University of Arkansas Athletic Department to have John Calipari as your head basketball coach. That is a pretty net positive. So, yes, I would say so. See, Chris Sullivan says, it wouldn't surprise me if they hire a new coach and everyone says it's because of having a new coach that we are getting better players instead of revenue sharing. Sam can't catch a break.
So, okay, I want to address this, but first I want to, if this is serious, I want to apologize to Chris because I see he's a member and I don't want to shame members. I don't want to be mean, but I think this might be satire. But if it's not, Chris is saying he wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas hired a new coach who then brought in better players, which like right then and there is funny. But then he's like, even if he does come in and bring new players, it'll be because of revenue sharing and not because better recruiter, better overall staff, younger, all those things. It'll be because of revenue sharing, which we have fully determined now is not going to give Arkansas a leg up in any way, shape, or form. Right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But I love the mental gymnastics that that you got to do to pump sunshine in this situation. It's like, well, we fired the coach and got better players, but it was only because of the revenue sharing that everyone else got.
I know this is very simple in looking at it, but hopefully people understand. And this is what we've been saying. You cannot have any sort of advantage at all in any capacity if every single school is given the same amount of money to use in revenue sharing. That's not an advantage. So I think that was the whole point of what we were always saying. It's like, it's not like, ooh, Arkansas gets 20.5 and some other schools are only going to get 10. It's like, nope, everybody gets it. Now, can you spend it more wisely? Can you make the most of it? And that help you? Of course. But to just blanket be like, oh, it's better revenue share. That was the whole thing we always talked about. It's like, it's just not as simple as that. So, all right. Now, so we'll have some few more of your chats and everything too, but let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas Live. And it's presented by HD Roofing and Construction. We know storms can hit unexpectedly all the time here in the state of Arkansas, especially with the colder weather going to be coming in. You're going to have some rainy days. You're going to have some pretty severe storms, some winds. You may have some ice. You may have some snow and everything, but you don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with it, especially if it impacts your roof. You end up having some damage done. Get out of that. Don't worry about it because HD Roofing is going to have you covered with that free inspection that they're going to give you. All you got to do is call them at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. You can also check out their website at hdarkansas.com. Get that free inspection and get the best top quality materials and expert installation for all of your roofing needs with HD Roofing and Construction. So, all right. So, again, we'll have some of your chats here in a little bit. But as far as heavy hitters go here on the show, I have a couple of them, actually. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I have a few, and Curtis, I know you have the other one, so I'm going to let you have that. But did you guys see Kenny Dillingham? You know who he is, the Arizona State head coach for football. Mm-hmm. Did you hear what they're doing and what they're fundraising for? Because everyone's talking about fundraising for NIL and fundraising for all this. This dude in Arizona State, I thought I had the video, but I don't. But either way, they are fundraising money for a new indoor practice facility that will also be used for fan tailgating, where they want to, quote, create the 16th hole of the Waste Management Open type of deal in the indoor facility by the stadium. I love this so much. It is so great. And I wish a place like Arkansas or anybody had something like this, because I just feel like this is a win-win for everybody. You get to do it indoors, the tailgate where it's compact, everyone's hanging out, having a good time. Yes, you're going to have security and you're going to have some insurances and stuff like that, all that. But shout out to them, because that is for the fans. Like, I know it's dual thing for the practice facility and the fans, but man, that's my heavy hitter, or at least one of them, is Arizona State thinking forwardly and doing something cool like that. That would be pretty awesome.
That is one of the most Arizona State things to possibly do. One of the best party schools in the country. I love that. Kenny Dillingham gets it. Young coach, so this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's an awesome idea. What are they? Was it like 15 million or something they're trying to raise to do this? I can't wait to see what this winds up looking like. I think it's a great idea. It might wind up being a disaster. I think it's cool. Shout out to them for doing it. It's forward thinking, man. It's a little bit different. I like it. And dude, I think Kenny Dillingham is doing as good a job as maybe any coach in the country right now, right? Just based on like the expectations and the situation he took over, he's doing a lot of things right. I'm a huge fan of Kenny Dillingham, man.
Yep, absolutely. And real quick, my other one, because I don't want to get too much of a downer, but it's also a heavy hitter. Shout out to the Arkansas State Police and everybody involved finding. Oh, does that go into yours? I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah,
Let Curtis do it. I thought Curtis was going to steal mine.
Okay. Yeah, but it's either way, just shout out to them, because they did, as a lot of you know, the double homicide that took place in Devil's Den. It was looking like, man, there was not going to be any way to find out who it was. And they did. And they found him. He's been arrested. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to give him credit for any of that. But scary situation. Thankfully, they were able to go through their investigation and figure it out fairly quickly. And also, too, it's a scary thing knowing that this guy was in school districts and had some issues and was just getting like resigned or whatever. And then he was about to be a school teacher in Springdale, like a third grade teacher. Insanity, absolute insanity. So it's another heavy hitter. Shout out to the Arkansas State Police and everybody involved in the investigation of getting this dude off the streets, and hopefully justice gets served, because awful situation. And again, I looked not like I looked at all the evidence, but I felt like it was going to be something that's going to be very difficult to find out who did it. They did. He's been brought in, and so shout out to them for getting it all done.
Okay, you talked about everyone involved with the investigation. Has it been verified that the chick was cutting his hair? Like, is that real?
I mean, it's a Facebook post.
It was definitely verified that like he was getting a haircut. Now, are you going to bring up the Facebook post? Because I was searching my phone just now and I found them.
I'm not going to bring it. I was going to bring it up, like talk about it, but I don't have the pictures. But imagine being that girl. And she's talking about she was only like halfway through the fade or something.
Can I read the post real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so she starts off. She says, "This is Adriana Avalos." She says, "So I'm cutting a guy's hair, ... and I'm shaking because now there's cops and detectives. Told them I haven't swept up the hair in case they need it, and they 100% said they did. Y'all, I'm shaking, mostly because it's starting to look like it could be the man they're looking for, but not too sure yet." And then she follows up with, "Update, it was possibly him. Y'all, I could have possibly cut the Devil's Den killer's hair. He left effed up, though. I barely started the fade."
It's not a funny situation. That's a funny post.
It is unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the dude's name either, but yeah, just a legitimate horrible situation. And like this is a multi-state thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that no one knew, like he had no motive and didn't even know these people. He just was a random, which makes it even scarier. So
with the way that it went down, and then the first couple days afterwards, this just felt like one that would wind up being a cold case to me. It was so, again, it was random. It's in a park. There's not a lot of people around. And you're like, okay, the descriptions that were coming out initially, I'm just thinking, man, there's no way they're really going to be able to narrow this down and identify an actual suspect. And yeah, not only did it happen, but it happened within a couple of days. Yeah. No doubt. That's tremendous work.
Not to make this too weird, but I saw a few people talking about this that, he was in Oklahoma and had allegedly been in trouble or there had been complaints about him being inappropriate with children at the school he was teaching at, and he ended up like getting let go from that school. But they didn't really there weren't a ton of consequences because he wound up going to teach at multiple other schools. And so it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, these kids that basically went home and told their parents like, hey, we saw this teacher being a complete creep, and they believed him but didn't really believe him. If your kids come home and are like, hey, a really weird thing happened, like, I don't know, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah. So that was my heavy hitters though.
Gotcha. Well, you had one of mine and Andrew has my other ones, but I do have another. Want to give a shout out to a couple of our listeners. One, you guys remember Miss Barbara Blaine from Foghorns, the cash super chat. You know what I mean? Such a sweetheart. And it was great to meet her that day. But I did a clip on the Pod at the Palace the other day about this, but she somehow found her way to our baby registry and got us a gift and had it sent to our place and everything. And that was completely unnecessary. We're not asking for that. We don't need it, but man, we really appreciate it. Warmed our hearts. So a big thank you to Miss Barbara as a heavy hitter. And then also Captain and Mrs. Solo have done a very similar thing there. So shout out to them as well for taking care of us there. This baby is not here yet, but already very much spoiled. That's very cool. You guys obviously do not have to do that. It's not an expectation. But man, we really do appreciate it. It makes us feel good. And it makes me feel really good to know that we talked about earlier, we want to be relatable. We want to feel like we're connected to our listeners and everything like that. And so for people to feel that to the point where they're like, oh, let's get something for this random guy's baby that talks in a microphone every day. That's awesome. So big time. Thank you for that. They're the heavy hitters for me. In addition to what John mentioned and what Andrew's getting ready to.
Well, hold on. I don't know if we really did have all the same ones. Were you thinking Cam Shanks?
No, but go ahead.
What were you thinking?
Cal.
Oh, no, you go ahead and do the Cal bit. You do the Cal bit. I've got a couple obscure ones, but actually, no, I'm going to do the Cal bit.
Do the Cal bit, yeah.
Cal. So, by the way, I have a buddy who's one of my best friends is a diehard Yankees fan, and I was filling him in on the lore of how Cal's just like in deep with the Yankees and the Steinbrenners and that whole crew. So we know Cal is like he likes to go to Yankees games And he's done it multiple times where he's like, there's been big news, and he's like, oh, hey, sorry, I'm just in the Bronx right now. Well, he pulls up at the Yankees game last night in a just straight up white tee. Wait, hold on. Here we are. Yeah, just a straight up white tee. I love that move. You know how much confidence you got to have as a human being to just pull up in a box, like probably the Steinbrenner's box at the game, just white teeing it up
in
like
July.
That's a gangster right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, what's funny is this just shows us how, because I was going to bring that up for my heavy hitter, and that was the one that I thought Curtis was, so that's why I was like, I'm not, but then I ended up bringing up the other. We're all out of sorts today.
Well, I came into this show, and I was like, all right, I have 3.
Yeah.
I want to do the Arkansas State Police. I've got Cal, and then in my back pocket, I also have Ben Souders, because this is just his day to shine, and then we talked about that like the first 20 minutes, so real quickly, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I kind of was the same where I kind of forgot about the Cal thing. When Cam Shanks, I saw the Cam Shanks announcement. I was like, oh, thank God. Finally have one. But shout out to Cam Shanks, Paul Hornung Award watch list, most versatile player in college football, most versatile player in our hearts as well. And shout out to Christian Franklin, who got traded last night at the deadline. And by the way, Christian Franklin, in the middle of like his best pro season by far, he had a bunch of injuries after he left Arkansas and didn't really start his pro career until 2023, had a solid year in AA last year, got called up to AAA prior to this year, and like is having by far his best offensive season as a pro. Really felt like he was making some waves. Now the Cubs are in very much win now mode. They have a bunch of really good outfielders. They don't really need Pete Crow Armstrong. Heard of him? Kyle Tucker. You heard of him? So they don't really need a AAA outfielder. He's headed to Washington. He's going to be a national, where I don't know what their AAA team is, but Caden Wallace is in AA for the Nationals, so we could have a reuniting of Christian Franklin, who leaves his Razorback teammate Casey Opitz and is now moving to a new location, Northeast. So
well, there you go.
Franklin.
There you go. Also, real quick on going back to the Cal thing in this picture, is this the shortest worded tweet Cal's ever put out? Yankee game with Ellen. I'm,
straight to the point, man. He meant business today or yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like he goes with the simple white shirt. He goes with the simple tweet. If he was out there in a suit, I bet you he would have had a whole novella written. But yeah, shout out to him and getting it done. Who do you think? I think we talked about this. Who do you think took the picture?
It just
Steinbrenner.
Yeah, there's no way it was just an usher.
No way.
There's no way.
No. No, he's not having some usher take a picture. Are you kidding me?
It was definitely Ellen. It came from her phone. I bet. Oh yeah. She's just like, hey, take this picture of us. This was definitely not a John Calipari move. He just agreed to it because he's not telling her no.
Yeah. That's again, that was an awesome thing too. So, all right. So those are our heavy hitters, and we'll get to some of your chats, but also, of course, want to get into our summer topics of conversation. It's presented by our friends over at the Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. Again, August 13th, that Wednesday, August 13th, Inside Arkansas Live will be live from their location down there in Hot Springs on Lake Hamilton. We'll give you details on that as we get closer. But the great thing about the Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas is that with summertime still being here, still want to get out on the water, especially before school starts up, and you're going to be losing some time. Well, they give you access to those boats, but without the commitment, without having to deal with all the maintenance, without having to deal with all the cleaning them up and having a slip and driving the boat down there or whatever it is. They just set you up to where you get the best parts of having a boat without actually owning it. Whether you prefer Greer's Ferry Lake, Lake Hamilton, or even a day on the river down there in Little Rock, Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas will make your summer in the natural state the best one yet. So check out their website today at freedomboatclubar.com. That's freedomboatclubar.com to learn more about the benefits of joining the club today with Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas. So, okay, so a few of these. We'll also have get into your chats and everything too. But for sports, food, entertainment, we'll start with the sports side of things. Guys, what is the greatest put the team on their back performance in Razorback sports history, in your opinion, or the one you've seen, or however you want to put it?
I'm going to have a hard time going anywhere other than Devo against Kansas in the NCAA tournament a couple years ago. I mean, it was not his best season, but you get to that point and you're facing the number 1 overall seed, and the guy who averaged like 9 points a game or something just went absolutely ballistic. And you know, talk about putting the team on the back. He scored damn near all their points. in the second half of that basketball game. Jordan Walsh hit a big go-ahead 3 there. That was one of the few and far between moments. I mean, Ricky Council made some free throws, but Devo was the one getting downhill and getting all those buckets. Outside of that, I remember like one Kamani Johnson rebound. It was a hell of a performance there by Devo in a game where some of the other guys that you really count on were struggling. Nick Smith gets benched. And I mean, we remember all the other things that went into that. Devo was unbelievable. That's very much a put the team on their back type of moment. I'm sure there are some other guys, and I know you guys have some examples too of, folks who had, monster games, performances, or whatever, who might've put up bigger numbers, but maybe the most surprising put the team on your back. We all know about March Devo or whatever, but that was different, man. And he was kind of a man possessed to the point where Devo Davis of all people was getting, like Jonathan Gavoni tweets and everything afterwards, like, wow, man. Yeah. He's really putting it all together. It was a phenomenal performance. It was surreal watching it up close and in person there in Des Moines.
Love that. Admittedly, there's going to be a lot of recency bias here. One, because I'm just a young man, but also it's like I really didn't have time to dig through the archives for this one, although I tried a little bit with basketball. But for baseball, I got one for football, basketball, and baseball. Baseball, there's a lot that you can go to. The one that Gage Wood. Is there a better one than Gage Wood? Like, I think that's
very valid.
Obvious one. Like that. I don't know if there's a better example of that. I know it just happened, but like, nobody's ever had a better game that meant more. You know what I mean? That was a big deal. Yeah. But I'm going to go Kevin Kopp's 2021 regional as a close second. Obviously, we remember the Charlie Welch home run. What Kevin Kopp's did that week, and hell, just that game alone, came out of the bullpen and throws 7 innings to finish off the regional. He had thrown like 6 innings combined in the regional already, had pitched twice that weekend, and then finished it up with 7 straight innings with the game on the line, allowed Arkansas to settle into that game. They didn't hit a ton in that game before the Charlie Welch home run. I think that was a big one. Basketball, there's a lot of good ones, and there's been a lot of great games. In terms of put the team on your back, I got to go Mason Jones because that's what he did every freaking night, especially when Isaiah Joe was out of there. The one that really sticks out to me is the one we talked about earlier is the Auburn game that they lost in overtime where he dropped 40. That was probably my favorite Mason Jones performance, but I'm going to go with LSU where he had, I think, like 30-something and hit the game winner. But really, every Mason Jones game his final year at Arkansas. And football, y'all are going to be stunned by this one. McFadden is not the answer here. Because you think about all the best McFadden games, the South Carolina game where he had 321. Felix Jones had 180 yards and had like a 50-yard touchdown himself. He had a pretty damn good game that game as well. LSU, Felix Jones had 100-something yards. Peyton Hill has had a ton of yards. Like, it was a group effort a lot of times, although McFadden, of course, was leading it. When I think of one player that had to do the most by himself, I'm going TJ Hammonds, Coastal Carolina.
Let's go.
He was starting at quarterback. You had like Jonathan Nance and washed up Jared Cornelius out there at receiver. You had no help at all. And TJ Hammonds gave Arkansas like 250 yards of total offense. Just the most random, awesome, put the team on your back performance. Honorable mention to Raleigh Williams. And actually, as I'm thinking about this, I forgot to write this one down. I'm changing my answer. Erased all those ones that I just said. Brandon Allen, Ole Miss, on the road. The Hunter Henry Heave game. Everyone remembers that play. Brandon Allen went God mode that day. That's the best performance an Arkansas quarterback's ever had.
Well, I'm glad none of y'all stole mine because mine was the obvious answer for at least me growing up in football. Is Matt Jones in those 7 overtime games, man? Like, to me, I mean, just I know that they lost the 6 overtime game to Tennessee, but it wasn't because of him. Like, that dude just was making play after play after play. When everyone's dog tired, they're out there just like suffering. He's making throws in the back of the end zone. He's running it in. He did it all. And the reason Arkansas won 2 7 overtime games was because of him. The fact that they were even in those games and why it kept going that long was because of him. So to me, that was always the performances I remember is just like a guy. It's like, man, I know everybody, there was other people that made plays, but he was the one that you just couldn't, you didn't know how to stop him, and especially overtime. So to me, yeah, that one was definitely one of those up there. Go ahead.
Are you done?
What's up?
Are you done?
Yeah.
You're really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm not putting that guy in there.
Just do it.
No. Listen, I know the no-fly zone had 3 interceptions against Ole Miss in 2020.
Like, I know. Blasphemy.
But hey, what hurt
By
me-
not mentioning Hat Trick Huddy, you just slandered him, and he's on the list.
Listen, I'm just telling you right now. I would have put him on the list, but he didn't have a pick six. That was Jalen Catalon and Grant Morgan. That's where he failed. He didn't score. Now, if he would have scored on one of those, then let's have a conversation. But 3 picks, that's great, man. But the rest of your team also had 3 picks combined. So just saying.
I'm glad you have high standards for this, though. I respect that.
Dude, you know what's funny is there's a lot of great performances individually that have happened in losses. I mean, I just mentioned the Mason Jones one. Yeah. How about Kobe Hamilton having 303 yards against Rutgers in a loss that Arkansas didn't win? Broke the SEC single game receiving record and did not win the game. It's a decent one, although it's tough that a lot of these individual performances are shared with others. You had T-Dub, Tyler Wilson, throw for 511. Jarius Wright, what do you have, like 260 yards or something like that? Like something crazy. Either one of those, you could argue, put the team on their back, but really they carried it together, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Arkansas is notorious for having great single game records and still losing games. Mm-hmm. It's just what they do. Okay. More importantly, food. This is a boring question. I'll admit I mailed it in. I couldn't think of one, so I just mailed it in. But what is the greatest fruit of all time?
I'm torn between peach.
Interesting.
I love a good old peach.
Okay.
So I tried to think about this in the context of like, what's a fruit that's good to eat by itself, but is also good as a flavor, and is also good just conceptually, and is also just good. Like you're not like nobody's like, I hate this. And the answer I came to was strawberry. Now that is not my favorite fruit. It's not my favorite, but I do think it's the greatest fruit of all time. Strawberry's a fruit, right? I'm not tripping.
Yeah, it's a fruit.
Just making sure because I really,
fruit in my heart.
There's plenty of that I don't know, but I just feel like one. I mean, you've got the song "Strawberry Wine" banger. Strawberries again. If you just get a bowl full of them, good to eat. They're good by themselves. Strawberry flavored things are very good. Whether it's like Pop-Tarts, shakes, smoothie, whatever. You can get strawberry like vodka. You can get strawberry whatever. I just feel like strawberry is good, but my favorite just to eat by itself is pineapple.
That was my other behind.
If I'm eating fruit by itself, I want that fruit to be pineapple.
That was going to be mine. I need to have Ellis just be like, Ellis, just limit to 1 to 2 instead of you just you start going on like, I got 5 of them here, and then it's like, all right, well, he took mine. No, like I agree with the strawberry angle. I think strawberry might be the most not flexible. What's the word? Like the most
versatile.
Versatile, yes, thank you. Versatile fruit around, but
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, pineapple, man. It's just pineapple juice. I don't like doing the work of cutting a pineapple because it is a lot of work. Some of these fruits are not worth the effort. But that is tough. But pineapple on pizza, I do enjoy it. Sorry, but
I do too.
I mean,
with pepperoni and not the ham and pineapple.
Yeah, I mean, I can do either or any of that. So yeah, pineapple to me is the one that I definitely go with. The peach angle was pretty interesting because I hadn't really thought about that. But also, as weird as it is, I don't like the fruit itself, but I love the flavor. Watermelon. I know that's weird, but I don't like eating watermelon. But watermelon flavored things I love. So as weird as that is.
What do you guys think about kiwi?
Love kiwi.
I like it.
Had some kiwi the other day. It was like one of those mixed containers you get, and it was kiwi, pineapple, and strawberry, which is a pretty solid combination of 3 in my opinion. And the kiwi it's pretty good.
Can't go wrong with that.
They're kind of weird because they're fuzzy or whatever, but once they're peeled and everything, they're good.
Yeah. The easiest fruit, because that's the thing, we're getting into it, because there's some fruits that just aren't worth the peeling and all of that. But like, I think the apple is probably one of the easiest just to deal with. Just bite into it and there it is.
It's the most mid fruit of all time, bro. Apple is so mid, it's not even funny.
It's the basic. It's like it's like if somebody playing Mario Kart, but they always select Mario. It's like, okay, cool. Like,
What are you trying to keep the doctor away? Come on.
Yeah. It's like,
dude, we used to have this little machine in our house growing up, and it was like this little apple peeler. You would take the apple sideways and you'd stick it in the little thing, and then you just you just start cranking on it, and it would peel into like little slices. I love that sucker.
Yeah, because I don't like eating fruits where I got to spit seeds out or anything like that. It's just like, again, I'm being really picky and really annoying about it.
Have we talked about oranges?
No, we have not talked about oranges.
Pro orange or not? I like oranges. I don't like, I don't like orange flavored things. Like same with banana. I love banana, but I don't want banana flavored things. But oranges by themselves, I can eat a little tangerine or whatever.
You do the little cuties?
Yeah, I used to mess with those for sure.
Yeah. Easy to peel.
Yeah. I was never I'm a grapefruit guy too. I'm weird.
We used to get Doles, like the little package like this tall, and it'd be like you just peel it back and eat little oranges out of there.
Someone just brought up apple is Sam Pittman a fruit?
I just want to know what that means. Do we agree?
I mean, because it's red sometimes.
Is that,
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out what that might mean.
Well, I'm sure he'll bring it up and follow up in the chat. And also, finally, for the entertainment side of things, who is the coolest show or movie character of all time? Just someone that's just cool. Doesn't have to be perfect. They could have some problems, They could have some, I'm just not saying this is mine. Maybe it's one of y'all's, but like Tony Soprano. I think he was a cool guy. He had some issues, but he was cool. But who's the coolest character?
Baby Billy Freeman.
That's crazy, bro.
If you know, you know. Kenny Powers.
Kenny Powers, I feel like is a good
Kenny
one.
Powers is a good one.
I'm gonna go with the guy who shaped my entire life, and I'm gonna go with Han Solo. Shout out you shouted out Captain Solo earlier, Curtis. I'm shouting out Han Solo. He's my favorite genre of character too. The guy who's a good guy, but is like trying not to he doesn't want to be seen as a good guy, but he does good. He has good character. He's doing things behind closed doors, but he kind of has this rebellious nature to him. Han Solo is my favorite. He's my favorite Star Wars character, my favorite character of all time. I have a long list of options, by the way, but I'm going to let John go before because I don't want to list off 9 guys.
Yeah, and end up losing it. But I'll say for me, I think, for instance, this is a random one, but Doc Holliday in Tombstone was a really cool character. Love that character. I was always I don't know. It's Tony Soprano is a pretty cool guy, but I don't know if I would consider him to be the coolest of all time. And maybe this is just lame. But I was like, dude, James Bond's usually pretty cool,
I thought James Bond.
He's one of the coolest characters ever, for sure.
Yeah, just a cool guy. Depending on the actor, some of the actors were not as cool as others. But
great point by Evan here, in that really Harrison Ford is the coolest character of all time because he's played a lot of. He's played the president before. He's done that well. The Fugitive, he was cool. He's just cool, and he always will be.
We have both Rick Grimes and Negan from Walking Dead, like dueling Walking Deads in the chat here. Yeah. I would probably lean towards Negan. I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Over Rick Grimes. I don't know how much you guys watched.
I'm not a Walking
Dead, but
I watched a little
Rick
bit.
Grimes, he kind of became he's a bit of a bitch. He kind of became one. So
yeah. No, I mean, I think that because that's the thing is these shows that, dude, there was a stretch on AMC, I guess it was, with when they had Breaking Bad and then Walking Dead and Hell on Wheels and all these shows. They're just pumping out some really cool characters from them too. So, but yeah, those are some good ones. I'm sure that there's other ones out there that we missed or I missed, but yeah.
Jon Snow.
Yeah, Jon Snow. Yeah, he was cool.
Until in the North. Nah, Jon Snow's the man, dude. It's crazy as Curtis doesn't even know how cool Jon Snow is.
Yeah.
Just oblivious to how cool this guy is.
Yeah.
I will say pretty much the entire Stark family Game of Thrones I could rock with. I think the Heath Ledger's Joker specifically, the Joker in general is just a cool character, but I think Heath Ledger's Joker, that is a guy that the movie could have just been 3 hours of him riffing and we all probably would have been fine. Nobody would have complained. He's just cool. There's some guys who are just cool with what they do, but are not cool hangs, you know? Like John Wick. I've seen a few people saying that. I think he's definitely one of the cooler ones. But would you really want to hang out with John Wick?
No.
Now James Bond, I'd want to hang out. I feel like James Bond can kick back and have some fun.
Yeah. Have some martini shaken, not stirred. Have a good time there. There's no right or wrong answers there, but it's just saying.
No, there are. Trust me.
So a few chats before we roll out here. Shout out to Ace. Says he just became a YouTube member. So I appreciate it, Ace. Thanks for becoming a YouTube member here, an insider of Arkansas, which we're going to have a members only stream next week, folks. Next week, we'll narrow down today, but Going to have it at night, one of the days of the weeks, and we'll have some fun with it. So appreciate all the members here and part of Inside Arkansas. Chef Boy Arlie, speaking of members, goes, have y'all ever eaten at Mellow Mushroom? Yes.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah.
I've only been to the one in Fayetteville once. I used to go in Louisiana every now and then.
Yeah, he's going to St. Louis. I really enjoyed it there. I've only been to the one here once or twice.
I don't think I've ever been to the one here. That's what's weird, is I've been to one, but I've not been here to the one here. I don't know why. That's weird.
A solid C+.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's probably why.
That's probably a good way to put it.
There you go. Also, I know is our heavy hitter, but Homer Hogson said, my heavy hitter goes out to Celsius recalling some of their drinks because they were filled with high noon seltzers instead.
Is this real?
I mean,
Homer Hogson's got me in a blender today with Sam Pittman is an apple and high noons in the Celsius cans. I don't know if any of this is true.
I mean, it seems legit to me. I don't know how
insane if it's.
I mean, it seems like even a tough thing to make up where it's so ridiculous. That's like, it has to be true. There's no way that it's actual falsehoods or anything. Let's see. Also, Dylan says, why does John always narrow his eyes? I don't know why, but it pisses me off. What does that mean?
Dude, we have reached that point here. Like, there are some people that, like David was like, this is the longest segment in the world. And somebody else multiple times today has been like, we've got to get back to sports. Sports has to start. We're talking about money. We're talking about fruit. What the hell is going on? People are over it.
People are upset today, man. People are butthurt.
But I guess, like, what does narrowing my eyes mean though? Like, do you guys know what I'm doing?
Like doing right here, Eric.
So it's that I do that.
That
pisses you off, Dylan? Okay.
You do narrow your eyes. It doesn't piss me off, but you do narrow your eyes.
Oh, I've never paid attention to it, honestly. So it's like, okay, well, Dylan, all I can do is just work on that and hopefully get better from it. So
keep them eyes wide, brother.
Try not to. Honestly, part of it is because I do have like these studio lights, and if it's not light outside, because it's a little overcast outside, then the lights come off a little bit brighter and it kind of blinds me. So that's part of it. So, but again, I'll work on that and get better from it.
Real quickly, though, to Curtis's point about how angry everyone is, I do need people to just understand, like, when we do a segment like this one, where it's literally dedicated to non-sports, although we did start with sports, like, we've done this every day. Like, this is just part of it. This is the time. It's not like, hey, tomorrow's show might be about Bears, but it's like, when we do this specific segment, it's, very purposely, it's the middle of summer. And it's just what's going on. It's not like we don't talk sports, but it's like in this very specific time.
This is the last day before football camp begins. The fact that we made it through the first half hour of the show talking about football before football starts was, I think, pretty impressive.
Yeah. Hey, and also, how about you just let us have some fun? Okay. How about that? You just let us have some fun. How about that?
Homer Hogston says he likes your narrow eyes, John.
I'm going to like be self-conscious of it. It's like someone telling me that like I have a lazy eye, and I'm like, no, I don't. It's like I'm going to have to be thinking about it all
they're
the
very
time.
much not lazy. They're separating and narrowing and doing all kinds of things.
Okay. Well, again, if you're paying that much attention to my face, I appreciate it. Thank you. David says, I know this may be off topic, but what are y'all's predictions on the Notre Dame game? I think that's why we really know if we have a team this year.
This just made me laugh because we were mid fruit conversation, and he's like, I know this is off topic.
Is it okay if I ask about football?
Oh man.
Listen, I haven't done a ton of like Notre Dame research.
New quarterback.
They will be replacing their quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm. But apparently he's one who can actually throw.
Okay. Who's their quarterback this year?
Somebody who was there last year, I guess. But it's the Riley Leonard kid like couldn't throw last year. So they feel like they might actually have a passing attack. That's the scope of what I know.
I would imagine Notre Dame, anytime you're under Marcus Freeman, I would imagine they're going to be defense, run the ball, shorten the game, sit on you a little bit. Like, I have a hard time believing Notre Dame's ever going to be a super, like, pass-oriented, airing it out style of play, which I think, by the way, like, makes them, they'll have the dudes to play that way, but it does make it to where, like, facing some of these super high-powered offenses like a Tennessee or an Ole Miss or whoever is a little bit different, whereas, like, some of these teams that keep it low, keep it 23-17, maybe that'll favor Arkansas. Like, maybe they can live in the mud in a game like that. But I think Arkansas probably loses by by about 17.
Yeah. Check with me back when that game comes up, and we have a little bit more knowledge of what both those teams look like. So
I'm anxious to see what the spread, like what it opens at, and then what it is going into game week or whatever. But yeah, I would probably have Arkansas losing by 2 scores.
I mean, listen, Notre Dame plays some big games, so we'll have like you said, John, we'll have a lot better idea by the time that game rolls around. Who the hell knows? Notre Dame may look super shaky, or they could be 4-0 rolling.
Yep.
Yeah, Miami and A&M before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they play.
Yeah, like, I don't know if they're all in there right in a row or something, but
Miami they open with, I think.
Yeah. Also, Hayden just says, I can't believe Art's Place wasn't mentioned during the burger combo. I guess from
never
yesterday.
had the burger there.
I've never had the burger there. I've been in there one time with Andrew. Sorry, I just can't do it.
Like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably really good, but the smoke situation, it just gets me, man.
Yeah,
gets me every time.
Also, Sharkensaw says, I know it's talking season. We're an Arkansas show, but have any of you given your predictions on which teams will make the playoffs? I haven't, not yet. But again, I'm sure this is stuff that we'll do closer to the season starting up.
Ohio State, Penn State, Clemson. I don't know about the Big 12.
Penn State, I like a lot, like in a weird way. I actually don't like Drew Aller that much, but I think Penn State, this might be the best team they've had of our lifetime.
Yeah.
I have no idea who will come out of the Big 12. Literally no clue.
Texas getting back there.
I mean,
so hold on. How many SEC teams were in it last year? 3, 4,
3
playoff 3.
Yeah, Tennessee, Georgia, and
Texas.
I bet Georgia and Texas get back.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if they did. In fact, if they didn't,
is LSU the Tennessee of this year?
Maybe.
They may be.
Not crazy.
Catch an L to Arkansas, but still go to the playoff. I'll sign up for that.
Who's going to be the group of 5? Is it going to be Boise again? Does Dan Mullen take Barry Odom's team and get them in there? No,
it's going to be
Army
like
or Navy.
Someone from the American, like Tulane or not Houston. I guess Houston's not good anymore, are they?
Memphis beat Arkansas, and that catapults them into
or 11-1 Memphis, whose only loss is to 10-2 Arkansas.
I like that.
Yeah, and then that will work too. Yeah, it'll be somebody like that, I'm sure. So, all right,
we'll do that though.
Yeah. Fellas, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
The next time we see you folks, we'll have some actual, tangible Arkansas football stuff to talk about. So that's exciting. That's all I got.
We will have heard Sam Pittman yap twice between now and the next time you hear from us. So, lock in, get some rest tonight. Tomorrow, I want everyone on this show, in this chat, in this state, to get at least 1% better tomorrow.
And that's all you can ask for, honestly. But for real, you should subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas, because we're always going to have the content coming out for all things fall camp. Also have the press conferences and everything posted from Sam Pittman as he meets with the media today, as well as tomorrow. We'll have that for you as well. So subscribe to us. Be sure to check it out on our YouTube page, as well as all of our audio podcasts, wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. You can also check us out on social media at Inside Arkansas as well. So that'll do it for us. For Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbor. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you then.